Good morning, my friends. This is Tyra Jarvis with Transformation Tuesday. I come to you live every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Pacific time, and I've been talking about mindset, motivation, and transformation, and anything else that comes up for me. But usually they're going to be within those buckets of things that are top of mind for me. And I encourage you to listen live. If not, listen to the recording. Feel free to put in the comments wherever you're reading or listening to this and let me know what you think. And if there's something that you'd like me to talk about, I'd be happy to take some suggestions about what you're dealing with and what's coming up for you with obviously the enduring effects of the pandemic. You know, it's mid-February right now. Next month will be the 1-year anniversary of when COVID and the pandemic showed up in a big way in the States. It was earlier than that elsewhere in the globe. But I think very few of us thought that it would be going on as long as it is. And I believe that there's some effects that are affecting us based on how long this is going on and the fact that we still have some uncertainty. Do I get the vaccine? When do I get the vaccine? When do I resume life the way I want to redefine it? Given that we're not going to recreate everything exactly the way it was, but there will be the elements of things that are real missings for us that we want to make sure that we put back. For many, it might be traveling outside of a car. You might want to go on a plane or maybe even a boat, heaven forbid. But so it's really looking at what would we want to be putting back into our lives. But when I look at the enduring effects or the effects, if you will, of how long we have endured this shelter in place, safe at home, I've been noticing that it has some effects, and we have a choice on how long lasting those will be in the way we go about our lives post this pandemic anyway. And, you know, it showed up initially for me, a reach out phone call to a friend. She's really frustrated. She's angry. She's done with the COVID and the pandemic. And, I'm not saying that she was, taking on risky behavior, but she's just frustrated with how long this is going on and having it be done with. Maybe there's... for myself, I'm gonna share a little bit of a story, but what I'm seeing is the effect on our mental, emotional, and our social well-being. And you want to have some awareness around how that is having an effect on those things for you. For me, Sunday, I play in a weekly golf league, and we had a league event on Sunday. And fortunately for me, one of my activities is golf, and that it does seem to have adjusted and it's pretty safe and we can go out and we can actually play golf. And yet on Sunday, I found myself in a dialogue with myself, or a monologue, if you will, of, I don't want to go. I don't want to go outside. It looked like it was too cold. I've got stuff I could do. I could do my taxes. I could do a million things that I could have done, a work project. And I really had to flip that for myself, and something in me allowed me to talk myself into actually going, because it would have just been a simple text message. Hey, Julia, sorry, I'm not coming. And it was Valentine's Day, and I had evening plans with my grandkids, and there were a million excuses that I could have made to not go. And I'm asking myself, when else am I saying no to things that I should be saying yes to? And although they're limited in what I can say yes to still right now, what is the effect of that on me? And maybe I ask you to ask the same thing. What's that effect on you? And so what I get is that, our frame of reference happens with what we see and what we hear. And we heard early on, choose your sources, turn off the news, turn off the politics, whatever you can do, but it frames what you see as possible. And what I'm noticing is that because we're limited to what our eyes can see, depending on how sheltered at home you are, your periphery has shrunk. And I believe it has an atrophying effect, or a crusty effect, on your brain. And we've talked in previous episodes about the brain-mind connection. And you want to get that you're actually the observer of this dialogue. But the brain's sole purpose is to keep you safe. And the mind has to battle this all the time. And that's why we work on our mindset every day. So what's this limiting periphery doing for me in this, this crustiness of the brain? And I had to ask myself, what would I be giving up by not going to play golf? Well, I'm not getting outside much. I'd be outside. I'd get fresh air. I almost didn't even care if it sprinkled or whatever. We'd be, getting in touch with nature. I would be walking. I would be getting some exercise. I would be swinging. I could be practicing my game. And I was going to be paired up with two people that I hadn't met yet. So I was going to be socially engaging with two new friends, right? And it was lovely. It was lovely. The round was incredibly fun and relaxing, and it was social, and it was so healthy to do it. But I almost said no to that. I almost gave up on that. And I'm reminded of an NPR article. It appeared on one of the weekend shows. And they were interviewing an elementary school counselor, from North Carolina. I may have mentioned this prior, but it's so relevant about what we need to be doing right now to get ready for whatever this comeback is going to be. She was using elementary school students, but I think it's very relative to adults. We had a life that was, engaging. We were seeing lots of people. There was a lot of activity. We were participating. We were socially active. We were, engaged, and participating is the main thing. And if you can think of, kids in a school or kids in a high school, thousands of kids, and we know that they're missing the social element. But what about us? What are we missing in that space? And if we're shrinking, and based on, the square footage of your house or your apartment, or the fact that you get in the car and you drive to the grocery store, and maybe you get gas, and maybe you drop off at the dry cleaners and you're safe, but you do this little, I don't know what that radius for me would be, but it's probably less than 10 miles. I'm barely putting any miles on my car, and days I'm staying home and not going anywhere. And so not getting out. And so what is that? And we have to force ourselves. That was her advice as a counselor of students. We have to force ourselves to get ready for this comeback, to go back to however we want to create this post-pandemic life for us. That might be forcing ourselves to engage more on LinkedIn, turn the video on. I know there's Zoom fatigue. I know there's, all this concern about eye stuff. But if we're not engaging eye to eye, and we're not engaging socially in the opportunities that we have, we're going to be less prepared to engage when we go back to a life that's a little less sheltered than it is right now. So engaging, participating, getting ready to be social, looking for opportunities to be social. For me, that's golf. For you, it might be, I don't know, walking with a friend, honoring distance and wearing a mask or whatever that might be. But not letting the constraints that have been put in place to protect us and keep us safe create that as a reality, so that I always say we have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Well, in this space, we've really got to push that comfort zone, because it's doing the natural phenomenon that it needs to do, which is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And that's causing us to see and hear opportunities differently, definitely take less risk. And so finding a way to expand that periphery for you, even if it's, one of my friend's daughters posted on Instagram, the beauty of a hike and being outside in nature and looking at a massive view, just retraining your eyes to, see a bigger picture, so that we can get ready. We got to get ready. And so I just ask you, where is it that you might be letting this happen? It's related to some other queries that I'm doing around fear. And fear is everywhere. It's pervasive. We use filters to reinforce our fears. What I'm of the opinion of now, that fear is a part of you. It's a very powerful emotion. Your emotions are a part of you. Fear does keep you safe in certain situations, but it also might be keeping you safe just because that's the nature of what the brain does, is to keep you safe. And the teachings from Rhonda Britton in Fearless Living, and maybe many other fear coaches, would be to embrace your fear, to treat your fear as a loving, compassionate, caring part of you. Whatever that fear is, fear of failure, fear of success, fear of going outside and contracting the disease, fear of the unknown, fear of everything. If you allow it to make the choices for you, like get into action, like go beyond a belief and an observation of fear and an emotion of fear, and take on a being of being fearful, and then actually choosing actions in alignment with being fearful, you're going to shrink, and you're not going to see possibilities or opportunities to help yourself and to create what it really is, your magic in the world, or whatever that is for you, or the magic of connection that you have with other people. And so the way that I've learned around dealing with fear is almost like a mindset hack, if you will, is to befriend your fear. Thank it for sharing, thank it for being concerned, thank you for caring about me, for wanting to keep me safe. I really appreciate, I know that you love me and that you care for me and you really want me to be safe and protected. At the same time, I've got this. I've got this, and I'm going to be okay. And we're going to do this together. And don't worry, like calm your fear, like allow your fear to not have that stronghold on you, so that you are taking actions in alignment with fear as opposed to fearlessness, or as opposed to freedom, and really relying on your courage to do that. But, some might say, ignore your fear or move past fear or whatever. I'm saying bring fear along with you. Bring fear along with you and acknowledge it for what the brain and that emotion of fear is trying to do. It's really just showing you love and care, and just be compassionate and be bigger, and be more aware of that you're not going to let it choose your actions for you, that you're going to really, you're going to do it. You're going to step out, and you're going to participate more, and you're going to interact more, and you're not going to say no to things that you should be saying yes to. That might possibly be sitting outside and having lunch with a friend that you haven't engaged with in a while, participating, making eye contact, going on a ride in the car where you actually see a bigger panorama of what it is that you're looking for. So with that, I encourage you to really challenge your status quo right now and get comfortable being uncomfortable, and really get ready for whatever that comeback is going to be for you. So again, I'll be here next Tuesday, Transformation Tuesday, 8 a.m. Pacific time. I'm Tyra Jarvis. Check me out, tyrajarvis.com. Follow me on Facebook. And I would love to connect with you anytime. So reach out, let me know how I can support you. And if there's something that you'd like me to talk about, I'm never short of opinions on things to talk about. So feel free to share. All right. Listen, you have a great rest of the week. And just engage and participate and get ready for being around a lot of people. I was thinking when I re-listened to that article, what's it going to be like when traffic is normal? We're just, the frustration and the anger and everything's going to really come back. But we don't want to be wishing for it to be the way it used to be. We want to create newly how we want to go forward. And we're going to have to get ready for that. All right. So be fearless, have some fun, have some freedom in your life. And I look forward to connecting with you next week. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.